STARS helicopter landing zone is a clear, level, secured area near an accident scene where a STARS helicopter can land safely to transport patients. When properly set up and operated, it allows the attending ground emergency response team and the STARS air medical crew to work together efficiently and safely to load the patient for transport. In the following video, you will learn about how to prepare for STARS arrival, helicopter departure, various hazards and special situations, and what crash rescue procedures you are required to know. This video will help you safely set up the landing zone for the H145 helicopter flown by STARS. The first step is to designate a landing zone officer who is responsible for setting up and safely running the STARS landing zone. The landing zone officer may enlist a second person, a marshaller, to help with the landing zone duties. The landing zone, however, can be set up and operated effectively by the landing zone officer alone. The officer is usually one of the on-scene team members of the attending fire department, EMS, RCMP, municipal police, or park wardens. Fire department staff are typically best equipped to take on the role of the landing zone officer, but a STARS helicopter landing zone can be run by any person trained to do so. The selected person in any case must be given direct radio contact to the STARS helicopter crew. In the next step, to prepare for the helicopter arrival, the landing zone officer should put on the personal protective equipment, such as a helmet, hearing protection, safety glasses or goggles, and a face shield. A reflective vest is recommended, particularly on night landings. Prior to STARS arrival, you will need to accomplish a few important tasks. These include selecting a site that is safe and functional, setting up the site for the helicopter arrival, and establishing radio contact with the incoming crew. A properly set up and operated landing zone creates smooth teamwork between the ground crew and the air crew, which is ultimately the key element to any successful and safe mission. Once STARS is en route, the landing zone officer must locate a clear area for the helicopter that is accessible to, but safely away from, the incident scene. A minimum distance of 120 feet from the accident scene is recommended. The landing zone should be downwind of the incident scene so that the STARS helicopter avoids flying over the scene on approach. A landing zone located downwind also keeps rotor wash and exhaust fumes away from the emergency responders once the helicopter is safely on the ground. The STARS pilots will always land into the wind in strong wind conditions. The landing zone should always be away from high obstacles, such as street signs, vehicles, towers, poles, power lines, and trees, with a reasonable approach by air. Choose an area that is as flat as possible. The landing zone should always be set up as soon as possible after the site has been selected. Setup is simple. Ensure the site is a minimum of 36 paces, 36 meters, or 120 feet from the accident site. Forming a 36 pace by 36 pace or 120 feet by 120 feet square. If this isn't possible, find an alternative location or rendezvous point where the helicopter can land safely.
Rick, I'll get you to set up a landing zone over on that field.
Mark out the corners of the landing zone with LED beacons or highly visible pylons. Remove any equipment, material, or loose debris from the immediate area. The helicopter generates downwash wind speeds in excess of 100 kilometers an hour, capable of causing large materials to become airborne. If the area is dusty, you may need to wet it down to improve the pilot's visibility on approach and protect the ground personnel, but only if requested by STARS. One of the key components to the mission's success, and what often causes the greatest delays on scene, is radio communication. The STARS aircraft has several programmed radio frequencies. Ensure that you have communicated to your local dispatch the frequency that you will monitor for the communication with the STARS crew. The provincial fire channel is preferred for every landing where a fire department is present.
Star 11, Warman ground.
Warman, we are 5 minutes away from your location.
The landing zone officer should brief the air crew as soon as radio contact is established with the STARS helicopter. Tell the crew the location of the landing zone, referencing something easily viewed from above, such as an intersection or the accident itself. Inform the crew whether the ground is level or sloping, the type of surface they're landing on, and if dust, loose snow, rocks, bushes, or stumps are present in the landing zone. Communicate local wind conditions, the location of any nearby hazards, such as power lines or road signs, and the existence of any other unique conditions, such as smoke or hazardous gas release. Use north, south, east, or west to reference the location of the landing zone and hazards. Always remember that the pilots will approach into the wind during strong wind conditions. Finally, identify what is marking the four corners of the landing zone, whether this be LED beacons or pylons. If the STARS helicopter is circling above, but the landing zone is not ready for arrival, simply radio this information to the crew.
Star 11, our landing zone isn't ready. You'll have to circle around until we're good to go.
Warm and ground, this is Star 11, we copy that.
Background medical information can be conveyed to the STARS medical crew only when the landing zone communications briefing is complete.
Star 11, you're 5x5. We have a landing zone officer in place.
To guide the STARS helicopter in safely, the landing zone officer and any assisting personnel must follow a few simple procedures. First, when you see the helicopter approaching, make sure, once again, that the area is secure, with no personnel, equipment, or debris in the landing zone. Next, stand in the middle of the upwind side of the landing zone with your back to the wind. If the area is safe, extend your arms straight above your head, holding the LED batons if available. This signals to the STARS pilots that the area is clear and the helicopter can land. The STARS pilots may have limited visibility below the helicopter on approach. Do not assume that they can see below themselves. If at any time during the descent it becomes unsafe to land, wave your arms above your head in a crosswise motion. The helicopter will immediately rise up away from the scene, circle, and wait for further radio instructions.
Landing zone is not established yet. Please circle the scene until we're ready.
Copy that, Star 11 copies.
On final approach, crouch or kneel to protect yourself from the downwash. Do not leave your spot. The pilots use you as their reference to the ground. If you move, the helicopter may follow you in low visibility conditions. Once the STARS helicopter is safely on the ground, maintain your position. The aircrew will come to you. The greatest danger for emergency personnel at a scene is being struck by a helicopter rotor. If you wish to pass through the area around the helicopter, wait outside the landing zone to be escorted by a STARS crew member. A STARS pilot will act as a safety officer and will guard the tail rotor. Help with patient loading or other duties as requested by the STARS air crew. If you must approach the helicopter on a hot load, where the helicopter does not shut down, ensure you are escorted by a member of the STARS crew. Always enter or exit the landing zone by the 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock safe access region. While the STARS helicopter is on the ground, the landing zone officer's primary responsibility is the security of the landing zone. For departure, the landing zone officer resumes their crouching or kneeling position at the middle of the upwind side of the landing zone or at the position directed by the pilot. Check to ensure that the area is still secure and free of debris, personnel, or equipment. Give the pilots the all clear signal if the conditions are safe for departure. If a problem arises, wave your arms in a crosswise motion above your head, but do not enter the landing zone. Using the radio, communicate to the pilots the nature of the problem. When the helicopter is clear to depart, resume your position, give the all clear signal, and hold your location until the helicopter is safely away. On night landings, all setup and operating procedures are the same as on day landings. If available, the landing zone officer should place LED beacons at the corners of the selected landing zone and must wear a reflective vest. Vehicles at the scene can assist the STARS pilots by training their spotlights and high beams on nearby hazards, such as power lines. Spotlights or high beams must never be directed toward the landing zone, as they may blind the pilots on final descent. The only time light should be directed into the landing zone is if you are in a remote area. In this situation, you can mark out the landing zone using low beam headlights from a vehicle by shining it toward the middle of the landing zone area. A roadway clear to the fence line on either side is sufficient space for the H145 helicopter to land. On two-lane highways, all traffic should be stopped in both directions for landing and departure of the STARS helicopter. This ensures the safety of the ground crew, the helicopter, and passing motorists. On divided highways, traffic control in the unaffected lane will be at the discretion of the attending police officers. If there has been a release of hazardous gas, or if there is a fire or smoke near the scene, an approach to the landing zone from downwind may be dangerous. In the communications briefing, the landing zone officer must notify the pilots of these potentially dangerous situations. Once the pilots have surveyed the scene, they may recommend a setup of an alternate landing zone to ensure a safe transfer with minimal disturbance to the patient and the incident scene. In case of an emergency or crash landing, and in the event that you need to assist the STARS crew within the H145 helicopter, there are a few key areas to be aware of. First, always try to open the doors using the handles. If this fails, then the large side windows in the rear cabin are emergency access points. Remove the orange cover at the top to release a pull tab. Pull it to remove a rubber seal from around the window. Then push the window in via one of the orange dots on the corner. If the pilots are incapacitated, there are 4 actions to perform in the cockpit. First, locate the 2 emergency off switches directly beneath the canopy over the control panel. Lift both the red covers, and then press the buttons. Second, disengage these 2 yellow engine switches by first swinging the red guards to the side, and then pulling the switches out, and then downward. Third, in the ceiling panel, you'll find the battery switch. Move it to the off position. Finally, locate the oxygen valve between the seats and turn it off. The H145's batteries are located here, on the right side, below the exhaust. The fuel tank runs along the bottom of the main fuselage in the aft position. The fuel access point is on the left side, just behind the rear door. For seatbelts throughout the helicopter, turn the round centerpiece in either direction to release the restraints. An emergency location transmitter will have been activated on the aircraft in the event of a crash. There are 2 fire extinguishers on board the H145. One is between the 2 pilot seats. The other is in this window, in the back. There is also a dedicated survival kit. From this video, you should now understand the importance of selecting the landing zone officer prior to a STARS mission, wear the appropriate protective equipment, be able to select the appropriate safe site for the helicopter landing, set up a landing zone that is safe from hazards, a minimum of 36 paces, 36 meters, or 120 feet from the accident site, and forming a 36 paces by 36 paces, 36 meters by 36 meters, or 120 feet by 120 feet square, establish radio contact with the STARS crew, and provide an update on the scene location and potential hazards. As STARS is arriving, the first step is to ensure the landing zone is clear. Stand in the middle of the upwind side of the landing zone with the wind at your back. Give the all clear signal to the pilots and maintain your position until the helicopter lands. Kneel as the helicopter approaches. Do not move from your spot, as the pilots may use you as a reference point. If at any point it is unsafe for the helicopter to land, wave your arms above your head and the helicopter will immediately rise up away from the scene. As STARS is getting ready to depart, once again ensure that the landing zone is clear. If it is safe to depart, give the pilot the all clear signal and maintain your position until the helicopter is safely away. If at any time it is unsafe, wave your arms above your head. There are a variety of hazard and special situations, including night landings where the use of LED beacons at the corner of the landing zone is important, as well as lighting of hazards. Highway landings, where on a two-way highway, traffic will need to be stopped in both directions. Landing on divided highways, where traffic control in the unaffected lane will be at the discretion of the attending police officer. And dealing with on-scene hazards where radio communication with STARS is crucial. In the event of a crash, there are a few procedures you will need to be aware of, including emergency access into the helicopter, how to shut off the fuel and fuel tank location, how to operate the safety belts, how to shut off the onboard oxygen, and the location and activation of the emergency locator transmitter. Please feel free to contact STARS regarding any questions you may have about this video. Your safety and the safety of our crew and the patient in their care are our top priorities for each mission. Thank you for your role in the chain of survival.